Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Founder Friday. It is my pleasure, as Sally Ann Frank, the Global Lead for Health and Life Sciences at Microsoft for Startups, to welcome our founder of Niramai, Dr. Geetha Manjunath.
Very nice to see you, Sally, and have a nice chat today.
Yes, lovely to see you again. So can you tell us a little bit about your background and a little bit about Niramai, the company you established?
Absolutely. So I'm basically a computer scientist and entrepreneur. I hold a PhD in computer science with AI as my specialization. And now I am founder of Niramai. At Niramai, we've actually developed a new method of detecting breast cancer where we just measure the temperature variations on the chest and convert the temperature map to a cancer health report using machine learning and artificial intelligence. And that is helping so many lives today. And I'm so glad we started this.
Yes, I am too. And I've seen the work that you've done and how impactful it is. Can you tell us a little bit more about how your solution detects breast cancer differently than mammography, which is something that is kind of standard of care in a lot of parts of the world?
So there is a gap in screening today where women with dense tissue can miss their cancers. And this is even US FDA has released new guidelines for it. As opposed to that, what we do is to measure the tissue activity directly, not the density. So we measure the tissue activity with a proxy of the temperature. So we use an infrared imaging device which measures the skin temperature, which is high resolution, which means that we're able to measure 0.02 degrees Celsius, kind of small variations in temperature, which signify variations in tissue activity in the breast itself. Now, when there is a cancer cell, there is higher multiplication of cells, higher division of cells, and irregular multiplication of cells, which means that there is a lot more cell division happening in one area compared to the rest of the tissue areas, right? Okay. So that is what we model using machine learning and multiple domain and data dependent features. And also we have new radiomics, we call it vascular radiomics and thermal radiomic features like biomarkers. These signify if some aspects are not as normal, then we are able to identify very, very early abnormalities. As small as 4 millimeter cancers can be identified with this.
Wonderful. So one of the things that I know, having worked with you in our Pegasus program, and you're one of our Pegasus partners, is the fact that not only are you solving for better detection, especially in dense breasts, but you also solve the access problem. Can you share a little bit about how you do that?
Definitely, and it's a great point that you brought up because world is not even. There are several places where even a simple mammography test is not available, doctors are not available, etc. Our test is extremely portable, right? Basically, it's such a portable camera, which is just an infrared camera. So it's a handy stuff which we can put in the backpack, take the tripod along and set it up anywhere. And there is no X-ray, so there is no need for any X-ray protection mechanism or infrastructure. So it makes it much more user-friendly as well. So the portability and automated analysis makes it really suitable for low and middle income countries, low resource settings where there's no other test possible today except HAT.
Yes, I know several times when I've seen you, you've had the camera actually in your purse. So it is very small. It's amazing. Yes. So tell me a little bit about that moment that you knew you had something of value that was kind of that make or break where you go, oh, we're definitely going to do this. Like, I'm going to build Niramai and it's going to have a global impact.
Yeah, wow. So I think first time when actually this happened because I lost two of my very close family members to breast cancer. And so when I saw a 38-year-old succumb to this disease, which is completely curable, and also another 42-year-old, then I was thinking, what happened? What's happening here, right? So the initial motivation is to see how can we enable young women as well to detect their early breast cancer. So when we thought about it, and one of the imaging experts, Dr. Mehta, mentioned to me about thermal imaging. And so we had a multispectral camera. We kind of looked at the infrared element of that. And so we actually imaged two people who were going for a surgery next day, breast surgery itself. And so it was shocking that I was actually able to visually see higher temperature, because infrared imaging devices generate also an image which shows different colors for different temperatures. So I could actually see higher temperature in the area where the cancer was going to happen. So that was the initial thing. Oh, there is something here. But then obviously we can't keep imaging people who are going for surgery next. And I wanted to use it as a screening methodology. And then when we started screening, we saw a lot of reds and oranges, whether it's positive, negative, and all. That's where the technical challenge was obvious, that we need to figure out which high temperature is actually cancer, which high temperature is not. And that was, for a techie, it was a challenging thing. And incidentally, I was working on a lot of machine learning and imaging problems. And so I said, why not try some of those? And that's how it started. And I think the aha moment was really when we did a 100-member study, pilot study. And I was so surprised that we were actually able to localize most of the cancers pretty accurately.
And I think, you've grown that vision from something that was highly localized to now you have a global footprint. So if you could, Dr. Geetha, tell us a little bit about how working with Microsoft, building on the Azure stack, like how all of that really facilitated, if it did, your global footprint and your ability to expand.
So yes, now we are in 20 plus countries. As I said,
Wow.
Caribbean is a new set of countries. We added in Philippines, Thailand, also in Europe, also in wellness clinics. We have in Sweden, Bulgaria, UAE, starting in Saudi shortly. And of course in Africa, in Ghana, Kenya, Zambia, Tanzania, South Africa, and all of these places. And of course, India is our largest base, right? So all this has happened, and partnership with the Pegasus program and the Microsoft for Startups has been extremely helpful in making our vision more global, right? And the way Microsoft is enabling us to connect with your customers in the Middle East, in the US. And we've also gotten a lot of guidance from the technical people in designing in a way that the cloud stack is really scalable. And I really like the way that in Azure, you can just mention these are the countries where we want to enable, and, it's available in the local region automatically, which is one of the difficult things, especially when you're doing a SAMD, right? Software as a medical device. The data going across countries is a major issue that we need to take care of. And so here the zones are automatically chosen in Azure. So these are some really, really good. And also the fact that you have a marketplace.
Great. Well, thank you for that. And I'd like to close with one final question. Are there any lessons learned that you'd like to share with other founders? What advice would you give? Because working in healthcare and life sciences, it's hard. It's hard work, isn't it?
Yeah. No, actually, thanks for that question. So two things I want to mention, right? We need patience to serve patients, and more so if you want to innovate in healthcare, especially clinical setting, because we are dealing with an area where every mistake can cost possibly a life as well. As in, I'm not saying that it has to be 100% perfect. Nothing is 100%, but so every decision that as a founder we make should be keeping that patient as the centricity, right? Make every decision saying, if I were the patient or my family member was, would I use my own test? That is the real important criteria that you would use for any decision. And second most important thing in healthcare and life sciences is to have good clinical and scientific studies, which back your claims. Don't make any marketing claims which just makes it sound good, right? Today, more than 300,000 women have already benefited from this test, right? So that wouldn't have been possible for a new test if there was not enough scientific backing. I think these are the only two things I would like to mention about the healthcare, journey and learnings. But this has been an excellent discussion. Thanks so much, Sally. It's always lovely to talk to you.
Thank you, Dr. Geetha. And it's so nice of you to take time to be with us today. We really appreciate not only your time today, but really how you are affecting breast cancer detection around the globe. So keep doing what you're doing, and we'll continue to help you. And we look forward to big things coming.